Good evening, everybody. My name is Joe, and I'm a weapon of mass instruction. Just got some more chemtrails for you right now. This is your weather report for the day in Northeast Pennsylvania, at least in my area of it. The sky's been looking something like this all day long. Look at that. Ain't that beautiful? So that's what I had to look forward to. Everywhere I went, fucking chemtrails. They crisscross the sky, just like they do in all those pictures that we see on the internet. And it was crazy. Like this morning, there were so many of them in that crisscross pattern. I'd never seen it like that before in this area, or when I was a kid in New Jersey. When I was a kid in New Jersey, I never noticed any chemtrails. You know, I used to watch the planes too. I used to love watching the planes and watch the contrails disappear behind them, and I never saw chemtrails. Now I see them, and now it's fucking hitting it real hard today. So I don't know if they're just cruising the country one section at a time, and we just got hit hard or something, or if they're just laying it down real thick in preparation of something coming real soon. I don't know. You know what it also seems to be? It also seems to be near holidays, when the government knows a lot of people are on vacation, on the road, in rural areas like this. That's when rural areas like this see the most chemtrails. So that could be it too. Poopy. I'm going to try to keep this brief. One thing that happened this morning was somebody actually called 911 because they saw me with my sidearm, which is awesome. I say it's awesome because that means that at least one person on the road on Main Street where I was walking had his head on a swivel and was actually looking around and paying attention to details. So, the cop came along and he said, hey, got a report, got a complaint. I know this is your right, but I just want to make sure everything's on the up and up. Of course, all sorts of crazy stuff happening lately. I wanted to make sure that you were good to go. And I was like, all right, cool. He ran my ID, which I really don't mind. Sorry, you guys are going to go sideways. I really don't mind that. Simply because, he could run my information from my license plate, from whatever the hell he wants, and there's no need to cause a fuss over something simple. Now, it would be a whole different story if he asked me to disarm myself or something of that nature, which I will never do again. Not going to do that unwillingly. And everything was cool. I had to sit through like a 5 to 10 minute lecture on why it might be a smart idea to conceal carry rather than open carry. But when all was said and done, I got, no harm, no foul. So, a couple of good things about that experience. Again, like I said, that kid, whoever it was, had his head on a swivel. He figured out that something wasn't quite what he normally thinks of as right or normal. And he called it out, which is good. That is awesome if you're in an area where the police are still working for the people instead of for the corporations. But, it shows that the system is working seemingly the way it should be, at least in my area. Another good thing that came of it is maybe at least that one person, maybe a few more, actually had their eyes opened a bit and decided to take it upon themselves to go home and do some research on gun laws in PA. Because I'm pretty sure it was a tourist, this being a week before Labor Day, that called it in, somebody from Jersey or New York. So, maybe somebody's eyes will be opened up a little bit and realize that they live in a gun Nazi state. Or, if it was somebody who lives in Pennsylvania, realize that we do have these rights and nobody's impinging on them, so we should exercise them, or else we're going to lose them. Just like muscles, if you don't exercise it, you're going to lose it. So, I exercise my right to carry every day. I exercise my right to free speech by making these videos, and I swear to God I'm going to exercise my right to fucking brake check your ass. Thank you, douche. Anyway. Free airbag checks. And of course he squeaks by on the orange light. Good, tailgate me. That is going to accomplish exactly nothing. Because the traffic here is going at 25 miles an hour, and this guy's in a hurry. Good for him. That's basically all I have to report. I haven't really paid attention to the news or anything. I have been reading The Stand by Stephen King. I think this is the third time now that I'm reading it. It is an awesome, awesome book. You know, the shit is just completely hit the fan, and now it's talking about what the survivors are doing. I'm pretty sure now all the sick people are dead. So, oh, look, there's more chemtrails. Awesome. Why am I going to Dunkin' Donuts? Oh, coffee there tastes nummy. What else? Is there anything else really to talk about? I don't think so. So that was my, not really news, but just stuff I wanted to talk about. From here on out, I'm just going to ramble until I get tired of rambling. So I will not be offended if you decide to stop watching at this point. Ooh, fast car. You know, but reading that book got me to thinking about the way things are going. You know, reading Stephen King's idea of what the government's going to do in a situation like that made me really start to... Hello, can I have a large iced coffee with skim milk and 3 sugar, please? Nope, that's it. Thank you. Made me really, you know, stop and think a little bit more about how the government is going to handle something like this in a real-life situation. And it could be anything, any disaster, any fucking outbreak, any war, any invasion. Like, they're going to spin the hell out of it like a world-class pool shark. And most people out there are going to buy the bullshit hook, line, and sinker like they always do. Because the government wouldn't lie to us for our own good. No, of course not. The government is looking out for our well-being, right? The government serves us, which is why we have to obey their laws. That's exactly how the system works. Sweet, thank you. I like my coffee like I like my women, light and sweet. Aw, snap. What? You thought I was going to say black and bitter? Look, I'm not racist, but I generally tend to find white girls with fairly light skin to be very good looking. Not girls, women. That makes me sound like a fucking pedophile or something. What was I talking about? Oh, yeah, government spinning the truth or telling outright blatant lies, which is entirely plausible when the shit hits the fan. You know, we won't be able to really rely on mainstream media at all to provide us with the information we seek. Really, the only thing that we'll have to go by, if we're not in an area that's like immediately struck by whatever disaster it is, alright, is going to be the alternative media. YouTube channels, people's personal blogs, stuff like that. So anybody out there who's still putting their videos out, and I gotta be honest, I'm sorry, I don't look at videos as often as I should, but you know, the word will pass pretty quickly if, say, you know, Cyber Warrior or, you know, Wow for Real all of a sudden stops posting stuff with no warning. The word's going to pass pretty quick between all their subscribers and then everybody else that knows of them. And I imagine the same thing will happen to me, especially as I'm starting to get more subscribers, and I'm really thankful for that. It tells me that, people are listening to my message out there, and they don't, you guys don't think that the stuff coming out of my head is just absolute bullshit or anything, because I am trying to give good info and, give you my life experiences that might help you out a bit. But, if we all keep on posting our stuff, our experiences, our questions, our news reports, our witness accounting, stuff happening, if it happens to us personally, as long as we keep doing that, there's a very good indicator of, things are still not terrible yet. You know what I mean? But, pretty much what it comes down to is the mainstream media cannot be trusted to report the truth in, say, the case of, let's say, the West Nile outbreak. They're reporting over 1,000 deaths nationwide, is it? Or just in Texas? I think it's more than 1,000 deaths nationwide. Which, I mean, when you think about it, the total population of the United States is 314 million, I believe. So 1,000 people dead in a couple of months is not really a big deal. Still not anywhere close to, say, cancer deaths in the United States or drunk driving deaths in the United States. But what is it that the mass media is not telling us about the West Nile outbreak? For example, everybody knows that West Nile virus generally kills the young and the elderly and the weak and the infirm. The people that are still healthy and strong, like bull, generally make it out okay. But what if they're not telling us that now all of a sudden it's affecting those in a negative, very negative way as well, and outright killing like healthy young adults on top of children and the old and the sick? And if that's the case, then it could be 1,000 deaths as of right now, and then next month it could be 10,000, and then the month after that 100,000. Who knows? And everybody knows that West Nile virus transmits from mosquito bites. So, but what if it mutates and now it's communicable in other ways? What if it's contagious all of a sudden? So there's a lot of little details that could really affect the outcome of, say, people's reactions to something that could be far different if we knew the full truth compared to what the mass media is just telling us. And the picture that Stephen King paints in the book, and this really scared me this time around because I didn't really pay attention to it the first 2 times I read the book, is at one point he describes a news station in Massachusetts, in the Boston area, that were being basically held hostage by soldiers. And so for 7 days running, they're reporting on the Captain Trips outbreak, and they're basically saying, okay, it's a dangerous strain of the flu, but it's nothing out of the ordinary. It's no worse than what the Russians or the Chinese got. Just stay in your homes, drink water, take aspirin, you'll be okay. And by the way, there's a vaccine coming out next week, so you're good. That's what they were forced to report. And the reality is that they actually had to witness like massive amounts of people dead, their bodies being dumped into the ocean and all sorts of shit. So finally, after 7 days, they basically smuggled in some weapons, and they took the station back from the soldiers, and they were able to report for about 3 hours the actual truth of the situation. They gave live footage, they gave witness accounts and all sorts of shit to put the truth out there before somebody actually just straight up blew up the building and then blamed it on terrorists. Amazing. And what are we fighting now? A war on fucking terror? War on the fucking truth, more like it. If some crazy shit happened tomorrow, we wouldn't know about it until the alternative media got their hands on it, was able to actually broadcast the truth. The mass media would sit there working for the man, or fucking hijacked by the man, and be fucking putting out nothing but lies until the cows came home or somebody did something about it. That's the truth of it. Because the fact is, we already see that they really don't give a shit about the population levels, aside from the human resource aspect of it. How many people are working to produce materials and to import materials and to do this, that, and the other thing that the government needs to consist, to continue, to grow like a fucking parasite. Wow. I'm going to have to do some research into the backstory of BioShock, the whole Andrew Ryan thing. Parasite. Love that word. And that's the truth, you know? Government does not exist to give everybody their rights. If that was the case, then society would be a far different place right now. But the fact of the matter is, there's nothing the government can do to give people your rights, because you are born with all the rights in the world. You have the right to make any choice you want. That is the barest truth. Governments exist to take those rights away. And a healthy government exists in a state where there is a perfect balance between the people, the population, the governed, and the government. And the United States was once in this perfect balance, but now the balance is tipping towards the government. And we see that in every aspect of our daily lives. I mean, hell, even my situation this morning when it came to the open carry. I mean, you think about the Old West, and you think about the colonial era, and people walked around with fucking long arms open, Whatever the fuck they wanted to carry, they carried. And for the most part, it was a very polite society. But you know what? Like, people get brainwashed by the fucking government. Really, they do, into thinking that guns are bad. Well, you know what? Guns are as bad as knives are. Guns are as bad as baseball bats are. Guns are as bad as anything you could pick up and potentially use as a weapon. Guess what? Your kitchen knife descended from knives that were used to kill. Your baseball bat descended from a club that was used to kill. Your dartboard game, people actually used darts to kill. Archery competitions, made to kill. The list goes on and fucking on of everyday things that we take for granted that were developed for war. But you know what? And it's like, what the hell is his nickname? I forgot. Alright, I'm going to cut it off right there. I'm going to talk to a friend of mine. So, y'all stay safe. Peace.